everyone, welcome to a new edition of Johnny Vlogs. I'm your host John Lorden, and this episode is brought to you by James Hughes, who became a new Patreon supporter. Thank you so much, James, I truly appreciate it. And existing Patreon supporter Brianne Holderby decided to up her pledge. Thank you, that is so awesome. Really appreciate that. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about tasers. Now, if you checked out my Geek and Dorks review last week, you know that I watched the documentary on Netflix, Killing Them Safely, which is a much stronger title than the documentary actually proved to be for me. And long ago, when Brain Scratch first started, so long ago, a year and a half, I did an episode called Set Police Guns to Stun. Now, of course, there is Taser, and I took a look at their website. I looked at their products page, and they have a video there. I don't know if anyone at Taser International has ever watched the film RoboCop, but they really should. They should not the new one, the old one. They need to watch the 1987 version of RoboCop, and someone in that company needs to say, hey, we have to make sure that we don't look like OCP. Because the videos that they put out, I swear to God, they look like OCP videos from the original RoboCop. It's weird. It's like the company has such a good thing that it's aiming for in terms of a device that is not lethal, a device that can protect people and police officers. Well, police officers are people, but the people that the police officers are dealing with and the police officers. It is such a good, I keep missing the word. It's a cause. It really is a cause. And for some reason, when you go to their website and see how everything's presented, you get this slimy feeling like, wow, these guys they don't get it. I think that cause, that original cause, is baked into their product at the very early stages of this company, and the corporate growth that has happened since then has added this layer, this disgusting layer, where they're not able to see that original cause anymore. So I was happy to at least see they have updated their weapon. Let me grab the keyboard so I can tell you about it here. They do have a new version of Taser, and part of what I took, not offense, but part of what I noticed on the old weapon was it fired one type of charge, and there's a couple of things that are problematic with that. First of all, the prongs that it shoots out, if they don't go through the clothes, a bunch of the electricity is wasted just trying to arc through the clothing and get to the person. Secondly, people are different sizes, different shapes, different ages, and that weapon is once again dumb and does not take any of that into consideration. And I am happy to see that they're getting into, they have a thing called Taser Cam, which is a camera, I guess, that is for police officers, which I think is super important, and it's a head-mounted camera, it looks like, which I think would be awesome and should be required. If you're going to be performing police work, it just protects you and protects the people. It's very smart. But back to the tasers. So the old one, and their video even confirms this. They had it at one setting. There was just a certain level of electricity that it would discharge, and that would make sure to overcome the problem with the clothing and still be able to incapacitate the person. However, like I mentioned, if you shot it into a kid, that smaller body frame is now absorbing a lot more electricity that would be dispersed differently in a larger person. And this reminds me of an experiment I did way back in elementary school. I think I was in 6th grade, if I remember correctly, and I was given a Radio Shack project box, which was kind of this big circuit board, and the circuit board was empty, but there was all these springs on it, and then there was a book that came with it, and on the front of this project box there was like a dial and an LED and a number meter and all kinds of different stuff. And the book would tell you, hey, you can make this, here's a bunch of small wires, and you use the wires in the project box, you connect the springs to each other, and you're essentially making circuits. And one of the projects was a it was to measure the conducting within a human body. And I made this project for school. I took it into school and we even tested it. You would fire up this project box and there was 2 wires that were loose coming out of it. You would have one person hold one wire, and then you would hold hands with other people and make a little chain and have the other person at the end of the chain hold the other wire. And a tone would come out of a speaker in the project box. And for example, if one person was doing it, just holding both wires, you would hear a very high-pitched tone. If it was a chain of people, it would get much, much lower. And this was essentially saying it's taking more electricity to get through all of these bodies and still make the route back to the other wire. So what struck me when I was watching this taser documentary is you are putting 2 prongs into a person. Why is that device not measuring the charge output? Why is it not measuring, just within a millisecond, they could send a pulse that goes through one wire, comes back to the other one, and that tone that I'm telling you about, if that tone is high, they know, hey, this pulse is getting through fast. I must already be through the clothing, so let me tune the charge down because I don't need as much electricity to make the jump through the clothing. They have added some feature like that. Apparently now it can detect if the charge is at clothing or not, but the way they're talking about it, it's only to amplify the signal. So basically, if the prongs hit clothing, it goes, oh, I need to boost this signal higher because I can't get through the clothing to shock the person. They did not talk about it in a way where it's monitoring the actual person. And just think for a moment about if you've ever been in a hospital and gotten, like an EKG, or if you've been monitored at a hospital before. Once you have 2 wires attached to a person, you can pretty much monitor anything that's going on electrically within their body. That taser device, doesn't it seem like it's built a lot like a defibrillator? I can't get the word out. I want to say defibrillator, but that's not how it's spelled. It's a defibrillator. Isn't that device built a lot like a defibrillator? Doesn't it seem to you that if that device knew the person was going into cardiac arrest, that it would be able to potentially send regulated pulses to get their heart working properly again? None, at least from the videos that they've put out and their website, they are not taking things in that direction. And I think that is a huge shortcoming of this device. I think they will get there, but quite honestly, just looking at their website, they're really boasting about this new technology they've got now, but they're missing the key point. And they're even wrapping it up with safety, saying, oh, this is safer now than ever, but they're still missing what they could be doing. Imagine a taser with a cell phone attached to it. Imagine all the computing power that you have in a cell phone. People are making devices that can now hook up to cell phones and check out your health. So there is no big jump that needs to be made here. The only jump that needs to be made is in the logic of this company to where they get back to that core issue of how do we make people safe. And if you are sending electricity into another body and you have the ability to monitor that body and you're not, and even further, you have the ability to save a life if for some reason that person's heart starts going weird and you're not, that doesn't seem like you're really thinking about safety all that much. Now, I'm only seeing what they put on their website. It is definitely geared for law enforcement. Everything that they're showing in terms of numbers, they're claiming to have saved a lot of lives. I still believe that there is something to that argument, because just imagine if these officers did not have this taser device. What are they pulling out? In many cases, it's going to be a gun. And we've seen many news stories about what's going on with officers pulling guns. So I really believe that they're on the right track. I think their corporate growth is skewing their overall core message and their core vision. And I think until someone there gets smart enough about, hey, we're basically pinning electrodes on a person, we can measure that person's size, regulate the output electricity so that it's appropriate for a person of that size. Hey, how about a gun that if it detects that it's just been shot into a kid, it won't electrocute the kid at all? Think of how brilliant that would be. I mean, essentially then you are stepping in between a little bit in between that officer and a situation where he might be putting his own career or department or millions of dollars of his department in jeopardy, and the device could just basically speak, you know, this person is too small for you to use this device. I mean, I don't know, but you get the idea. There are decisions that can be made by computing within a fraction of a second that could help, if it, maybe not stop the charge altogether, but regulate that charge so it is appropriate for the person that it is hitting, and those electrodes are staying connected to that person. Then monitor their heart, monitor the electricity in their body. If you see that they're going into shock of some kind, maybe there's another button on the taser for, you know, kick on defibrillator. God dang it, I wish they made that an easy. I'm just going to say the wrong word, defibrillator. Defibrillator. That's like a person that lies a lot, right? You're a defibrillator. I don't know. I am not a scientist. Let me just tag this video with. I am a former IT geek. I am an inventor. I've played with electricity a bit, particularly early in my youth. I used to take old like G.I. Joe CBs that I had as a kid and hook them up to the power converter for my train track until I was popping things off the circuit board. I have been shocked here or there, but nothing like the output of a taser. But I do think that the research and development team at Taser International needs to wake up a little bit, and the responsibility for what's happening to these people is coming back to the police departments and to Taser International. So take that responsibility on and solve the problem. Seriously. And then watch how much money you make. Now, I don't think they're worried. They seem to be making enough money. Apparently, those old tasers are still out there. Their website proudly boasts that you can upgrade those old tasers and they'll give you $150 off for this new, smarter taser. But is it as smart as it could be? From what I'm seeing here, I seriously don't think so. And I really want this company to get this right, because this device has the potential to really, everything that they think it's done over the past 20 years, they could truly realize if they will just do like I said and just take that extra responsibility. You are sending an electrical charge into another object. Make sure you understand what that object is, how it's going to react to it, and regulate that output. Pretty simple if you take on the challenge of actually solving those problems, at least from my eyes. But I have to say, even in my experience in corporate America, there are many people that are not about truly solving the problems. They want to solve the problems in other ways, using PR spin, using lawyers, instead of pushing the questions back to the real people that can truly innovate, and that's the people usually in their research and development teams. But I don't know if they're getting the message. So anyway, I know this might be a little bit of a controversial topic, but I'm really interested in your thoughts on this. Specifically about Taser. Is it a good device? Is it a bad device? Is it a device that just hasn't hit its stride yet? That's kind of how I feel about it. I think it's the right thing. And like I said during the review I did, even considering the deaths that have happened, that percentage seems to be extremely low. And you're not talking about average Joe citizen that's walking down the street, some cop comes out and tases him. You are talking about people that are interfering in some way, interacting with police in a way that is usually going to wind up in some type of charge, you know, a DUI or something like that. You're talking about people that are sometimes on drugs, and they have to account for that with this device also. I don't know, a lot to think about, but I'm really curious about your thoughts. So please use the comment box below and let me know what you think about tasers. All right, thank you so much for joining me on this JohnnyVlogs. I know it's a little bit of a different one this week, but I really felt like it was important to just have a little more follow-up on this topic. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about it, and I'm just looking for something smarter than a gun. And these guys, it's like they're taking baby steps. Get in the fast lane, get this thing done so we can have a safer country, safer communities. Get back to that core reason why you made this company, and I think you guys could do some good work, particularly if you take a look at your cell phone and say, hey, why is my cell phone so much smarter than this other device? All right, have a great day, everyone. I will catch you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks Network. Oh, channel. I keep saying network. Apparently I've got big aspirations.